duty, image, and the question of accountability. For years, conversations around the modern British monarchy have circled back to one recurring theme: work, or more precisely, who is doing it, who isn't, and why it matters. Recent comparisons of royal engagement numbers have reignited criticism toward the Prince and Princess of Wales, fueling a wider debate about expectations, privilege, and the shifting role of an institution that claims to operate in service of the public. As statistics circulate online and in the media, many question whether the royal couple is doing enough to justify their prominent positions and the resources allocated to them. Supporters argue that their work behind the scenes and focus on mental health initiatives are often overlooked, while critics point to a perceived lack of visibility and engagement. This ongoing scrutiny highlights the complex relationship between the monarchy and the public, raising important questions about accountability, tradition, and the future of the royal family. Critics argue that while other senior members of the royal family, including those well into their 80s and 90s, continue to carry out a demanding slate of public duties, the Waleses appear to engage far less frequently. The contrast becomes even more striking when juxtaposed with King Charles III, who, despite undergoing cancer treatment, has reportedly maintained a workload that surpasses that of the younger heirs. To some observers, this discrepancy raises uncomfortable questions about responsibility and commitment inside a taxpayer-funded monarchy. What frustrates many observers is not just the sheer number of royal engagements, but also the type and substance of these appearances. While the royal family is often seen at high-profile sporting events, such as Wimbledon, or waving from the iconic Buckingham Palace balcony during grand ceremonies like Trooping the Colour, these moments are largely ceremonial and highly visible. Similarly, brief appearances at traditional holiday services like Christmas or Easter, or quick greetings to the public during festive events, are all officially counted as royal engagements. These events are often well documented and attract significant media attention. Yet critics argue that these activities, while important for public relations, rarely involve the kind of sustained, hands-on service or deep community involvement that many expect from the monarchy. Instead, they question whether such brief, symbolic appearances truly reflect meaningful royal duty. Meanwhile, long-time workhorses of the family, particularly the Princess Royal, continue to shoulder a disproportionately heavy share of the institution's public presence. In recent years, there has been a noticeable shift in how the British royal family is perceived by the public and the media. This dynamic feeds a growing perception that the palace continues to rely heavily on its older, more traditional members, such as Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Charles, to uphold the gravitas and continuity of the monarchy. These senior royals are often seen at major state ceremonies and public functions, reinforcing the image of a stable, functioning monarchy that honours its long-standing traditions. Meanwhile, some of the younger royals, who are expected to eventually take on the highest roles and lead the institution into the future, seem to embody a noticeably lighter, more approachable and modern style of royal duty, one that is less formal and more in tune with contemporary society. Their focus often includes lifestyle-centric causes, social media engagement, and informal public appearances, suggesting a new interpretation of what it means to serve as a royal in the 21st century. For many observers, it feels both ironic and troubling. Why should aging, visibly frail relatives remain on the front lines of royal obligation, while the incoming generation appears comparatively detached? Layered onto this is, well, a growing frustration with what critics call a culture of media protection and selective scrutiny. The so-called invisible contract, that's a term often used to describe the mutually beneficial relationship between segments of the British press and the monarchy, is frequently cited as a reason certain narratives go unexamined. When the press minimizes criticism of favoured royals or frames low engagement as unavoidable rather than questionable, it leaves the public with, an incomplete picture of institutional accountability. Supporters of the Waleses often point to family priorities, health matters, or private charitable work as justification for their lighter schedules. But detractors counter that royal roles are not symbolic titles alone. They come with expectations of visibility, consistency, and labour conducted in the name of public service. When future heads of state are perceived as reluctant participants in that system, doubts arise about the resilience of the monarchy itself. Beyond the numbers and headlines lies a deeper concern. What example does this set for the next generation of royals? If the institution is to survive in a modern, scrutinized world, it must demonstrate relevance through effort, presence, and transparency, not merely through ceremony and privilege. The debate is not just about who attends the most engagements. It is about values, duty versus comfort, service versus symbolism, image versus accountability. And as long as the workload imbalance persists, so too will the questions. Whether the monarchy chooses to confront them honestly will determine not only how it is perceived today, but whether it can persuade the public that it still deserves a place in tomorrow's Britain.